At this year's United States Indoor Track and Field Championships, we saw the highly anticipated clash between the two Adidas teammates, Jordan Anthony and Noah Lyles. On paper, Anthony was set to take this win. His season's best was a world-leading time of 6.43 seconds. His focus this season had been completely on the 60-meter dash. But for Lyles, while still a championship merchant in pretty much any event on the track, he had been focusing on longer events this year, running a 300 and also a 200 earlier this season. This was one of the big clashes that many were eagerly awaiting to witness, and with a time of 6.45, Jordan Anthony came away with a truly compelling victory, taking down both Trayvon Bromell in second and also Noah Lyles in third. Many look at this one performance as perhaps the arrival of the new generation of sprinters that are set to take over the world in 2026. However, something else happened in this race that many people have completely overlooked, and that's because in lane 2, a new world record was set. And that's because the 16-year-old Dillon Mitchell ran a 6.60 in this 60-meter dash. And while this is very impressive, if we go back to the qualifying round, Mitchell actually ran faster at 6.59, which is a new world youth record in the 60 meters. For a 16-year-old to do this kind of running is just crazy behavior. Not only did Mitchell take down everyone in this field except for Bromell, but a time of 6.59 would have been fast enough to finish 5th in this year's SEC Indoor Track and Field Champs, which is the conference that many consider to be the absolute fastest and deepest in the collegiate rankings. Furthermore, this 6.59 now places the high school sophomore Mitchell at number 2 all-time for any Prep 60 dash in history, now only falling behind the legendary mark of Casey Combest from 1999, where he ran a time of 6.57 in the 60. Mitchell's time here was quite unbelievable. But if we look at the previous World Youth record that it took down, a 6.64 from Tate Taylor in 2025, this improvement only represents a total change of 0.758%. A solid number, don't get me wrong, but based on this insane new crop of teenage talents that we are currently seeing in the sport of running, records have recently been falling with improvements that really do seem almost impossible. So let's take a look at a few key record-breaking moments this season and analyze which one is truly the greatest. First, let's take a look at the undefeated 17-year-old who just won the national champs in the 800, Cooper Lutkenhaus. Now, famously, Cooper ran a 1:42 in the 800 back in 2025 at the US Nationals, a freakish time by any measurement imaginable. However, 2026 is quickly becoming one of the greatest years for an athlete of his age. He's already won the senior US title in the 800 with a 1:46. He broke the world junior record in the 600 with a time of 1:14.15. He also broke the previous world junior record in the 800, running a 1:44.03. And for this specific indoor 800 world record, this improved on the mark of the previous Olympic champion, Yuri Borzakovsky of Russia, who ran a time of 1:44.35 back in the year 2000. Now, because of this 1:44.3 from Borzakovsky some 26 years ago, Cooper's new U20 800 record only improves on the previous mark by 0.3%. But this is the comparison in the junior division. For Cooper's age, he just barely misses out on qualifying for the World Youth Rankings, as he will be turning 18 on December 19th of 2026. So by just 12 days, Cooper is now not eligible for youth rankings. But by all non-technical measurements, his age right now puts him comfortably in a typical youth ranking. And if this were the case, this new time of 1:44.03 would improve on the previous youth record by a jaw-dropping 3.9%, as the fastest time before him stands with Muhammad Aman from Ethiopia, who ran a 1:48.12 back in 2011, which for an athlete at 17 years old is pretty crazy, but a 1:44.03 is just a completely different universe. At 17, Cooper is setting a standard that I don't think anyone in history has ever approached for an athlete running in the 800. But beyond just his times on the track is the consistency and maturity that he's recently been showing. From his qualifying round runs, which are executed to perfection, to his nearly effortless accelerations over the final 200, Lutkenhaus's abilities are truly scary, and as he recently stated, his spring break this season, yes, that's the spring break for a high schooler, falls during this year's World Indoor Champs. So while some of his friends might be heading to the beach for a tan, Cooper will be competing for the gold medal in Poland. And based on his running this season, and based on the fact that Josh Hoey will not be competing, this 17-year-old genuinely has a shot at the indoor gold medal at the World Championships. Up next, it is everyone's favorite New Zealand prodigy, Sam Ruth. Now, we've discussed Sam's running a decent amount over the past couple of months, and that's because he really has been rewriting history pretty much every time he touches the track. From breaking records in the 800, the 1000, the 1500, the mile, the 3000, and the 5000, Ruth's endurance and strength are way beyond anything we've ever seen for an athlete at 16. But which record truly shines the brightest, and by how much did he take down the previous record? Well, it's no surprise that the biggest record-breaking run came from his new indoor world record for the mile at 348.88 in Boston, a truly shocking result that I genuinely did not think was possible. For real, running under 350 before you can even vote should not be a sentence that anyone has the ability to say. But here we are, and when we take a closer look at the record books, we can see that for his 1500 split, which came at 333.25, this improves on the previous U18 record by just over 2%. But for his full mile time of 348.88, was fast enough to take down the previous fastest mile by a 16-year-old by 2.86%. However, this is only the fastest outdoor mile achieved by someone of his age, as Cam Myers ran a time of 3:55 back in 2023. But what about indoors? What was the fastest time before Ruth for the mile in his age division? Well, in 2021, Hobbs Kessler ran a 3:57 for the indoor mile when he was just 17, and based on this result, this means that Ruth's time improved on Kessler's age group record by a huge margin of 3.83%, a truly massive jump in an age group world record. Ruth's exploits have completely changed the standard for teenage performances, and specifically, this 348.88 might be the record to stand for an entire generation. It really is that fast. Lastly, let's take a closer look at Jonathan Sims' new indoor 400 world junior record at 44.62. Just like a few other records on this list, Sims' time took down a previous Olympic champion, as the previous world under-20 record stood with Karani James at 44.80. Now, this 44.62 improved on James's previous time by a respectable 0.4%. So the question now is, how far can Sims go in his career, and will he ever challenge the results of Karani James of Grenada? And now I would love to hear from all of you. What has been your favorite world record moment in 2026 so far? We only focused on the junior and youth records in this video, but if there's another record that really caught your attention, such as Josh Hoey in the 800 or Keely Hodgkinson in the women's 800, let us know in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time.